Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, history is not a collection of past events. It is a warning, a roadmap of mistakes we must never repeat. Today, I stand before you to speak about a pattern that we have seen before, one that began with words, escalated into policies, and ended in unimaginable loss. As most of you know, I am an educator, so I'm going to talk some history. In 1933, they first went after the trade unionists. Then they went after the people with disabilities. Then Jehovah's Witnesses. Then the homosexuals. And then the gypsies. Then the Jews. In Nazi Germany, the persecution of Jewish people did not start with the concentration camps. It started with rhetoric. It started with the workers, the disabled, the specific religious groups, and those who are gay. And again, then the Jews. It started with leaders and media figures blaming these people for societal's problems, painting them as dangerous, different, and corrupting. It started with laws that stripped away their rights, banning them from schools, workplaces, public life. It started with neighbors turning a blind eye, thinking, this isn't my problem. Step by step, each of their rights were taken, their dignity eroded, their existence demonized. And when the world finally saw the gas chambers, the mass graves, we vowed never again. But never again is not a promise that keeps itself. Today we are hearing familiar rhetoric, this time directed at trans people. We hear politicians and pundits claiming that trans people are a threat to children, to women, to society itself. We see laws barring them from bathrooms, sports teams, and medical care. We see attempts to erase them from the public life, to make it impossible for them to exist openly and safely. This is why we cannot take away their rights that they have, because this body gave them those protected classes, those protected class rights in the Iowa Constitution to make sure that they could not be discriminated against for things like housing, jobs, and credit. The tactics today are disturbingly familiar. First, spread fear. We did that with the bathrooms. We did that with sports. Make the public believe that this is a minority group, is dangerous and deceptive. Then use that fear to justify taking away their rights. First in small ways, then in ways that make life unbearable. And when people speak, when they speak out about them, they're dismissed. They call them radicals, say they're overreacting or dramatic. But history shows us where this road leads. It shows us that injustice against one group threatens all. When we normalize the idea that some people do not deserve protections, the idea that some people do not deserve protections for the same rights and the same dignity and the same safety as the rest, we set the stage for greater oppression. And those protected rights were given because they were not getting equal treatment under the federal law. Furthermore, targeting transgender people specifically denies them the ability to live freely as their authentic selves, and it's just plain wrong. A society is one where rights are upheld for all, regardless of gender, identity, race, or any other characteristics. This bill undermines personal freedoms, creates legal inequalities, fosters discrimination and violence. Historically, denying rights to one group has often led to broader injustices against others, hence the protected class in the Iowa Constitution. We must not let history repeat itself. We must recognize these warning signs and speak out before it's too late. Because every person, transgender or otherwise, deserves to live without fear, without shame, and without being told that their existence is a problem to be solved, or in this case, trying to erase them from society. One of the first moves as a body we should do is to stop discriminatory bills that keep rolling through here against the trans and LGBTQ people. We heard from Representative Holt that that's part of the reason why this bill came to us, because they can't get legislation passed or past the courts. But we also know that's untrue. The ones that spurred this bill to land on our plates first, because the governor supposedly lost lawsuits, but she hasn't. We know that this is untrue, based on civil liberties and the Constitution. Maybe this body should stop discriminating against marginalized people so that we don't need to have a lawsuit or special class protections. But because those bills do exist, these special class protections are necessary. This bill and all the bills previously put forth to remove rights and dismiss marginalized groups show us exactly why we need to continue to have these special classes for the transgender community in the Iowa Constitution. The past is watching us. Let us prove today that we have learned from it and vote no on this bill so that our transgender students, neighbors, friends, and coworkers and family members can continue to live their authentic selves just as the rest of us get to enjoy without fear of discrimination or even worse. I ask this body to please vote no on this bill today. Thank you.